Hello, hello, my friends, and welcome to this episode of Wake Up with Giants Radio. If you can believe it, this is episode 20. I am Lady Luck. I'm joined in the studio today with Ryan the Lion, Nicole, Cola the RPG, and our special guest co-host today, Stephon Leary. I'm so excited to have him here with us today. We're going to jump right into our centering, and then we will introduce the topic and introduce our guest a little more and get right into everything. So we're going to sit up nice and straight and tall for all of our social media friends, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths, breathing in and out. All of our social media in and out. In and out. I show up powerfully today as a leader, as a student. I show up with intention. I show up with love in my heart. I show up in vulnerability to learn about our topic today, to learn from all of the incredible guests here today. I show up to reach 100 million lives, but just that one person. If I only reach that one person today, that makes a difference in one person's life today, I've accomplished what I've set out to accomplish today. I show up in beauty, in care, in sunshine. I feel sunshiny today, so that's how I'm going to show up today. Ryan, go ahead.
I love that. I'm Ryan the Lion, and I'm excited to hear from Stephon Leary, the giant out of Houston, Texas, that has so much life experience and wisdom. And we're excited to have him on the show today to be able to bounce off ideas and thoughts off of each other that we might be able to impact as many people as we can. 100 million lives is our goal. And I'm showing up today powerfully and using my life experience as well, that I might impact at least one that's ready for this message.
Beautiful. Nicole?
Today I am showing up in a space of calmness. Today I am in flow. Today I am present. Today I am curious. Today I am learning from my giant co-hosts. Today I am impacting 100 million lives. Today I am calling in my ancestors and my guides to be here with me to speak powerfully from my heart. And I am walking in love.
Beautiful. Stephon?
Today, hello, Giants fans. Today, I wake up with you with inspiration, expectation of something great. To expect something is to be excited about an outcome that's beneficial to you. Today, I wake up with great expectations. Today, I wake up with my friends and colleagues and co-hosts with an opportunity to share wisdom that hopefully will help each and every one of us along our journey. Today, I wake up with you with peace, with love, and most of all, a passion for life. Today, I am present with you. I intend to give you all of me that may impact you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. All right, my friends, if you're here, please do give us a shout out and say hello. Hugh is here. He says hello. He says one person is more than 0 people. So today, I am so excited to have all of these powerful giants in the studio with us. And our special guest co-host, Stephon Leary. Stephon has the most incredible story. And today, he's here to talk to us about how to leave a legacy. I'm so excited about this one. Welcome, Stephon.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Great to be here with you guys. It's an exciting day. I've been looking forward to this.
All right. So say hello, Nicole and Ryan, as well, to all of our friends.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Hugh. Good morning, Christopher.
Yay.
Hugh says he's outside watching in 95 degrees in the shade. I might be a little jealous about that.
Straight out of Yuma.
Yes.
Hot.
We love
Caliente.
Our Arizona Giants.
Houston can get that way, except for humidity. And so you go out in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I'm going to get some relief, and it's 100 degrees at night.
There's no shade ever. Not
it's
even
a sauna.
Shade.
So I'm gonna move us right over to Stephon, and I'm wondering if some of our radio listeners haven't heard your story on Wake Up with Giants TV, if you can give us a little bit of background about where you came from and how you came up to start your legacies, to start living your legacy and leaving that legacy.
Thank you so much. Greetings, everyone. I'm Stephon Leary from Houston, Texas, and my journey didn't start, often like most of us, you may have wanted it to. However, I'm a big believer in purpose. I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason. They shape you and form you for a greater opportunity in life. And my opportunity came along. My mother was a single mom. She was in an abusive relationship in Louisiana. I was actually born in Louisiana. And in the middle of the night, my mom took 6 kids and put them in a car with a gentleman whom we didn't even know. And she ran off to Houston, Texas. And that's where, for me, my journey began in Houston, Texas. My mom ended up having another child with this gentleman. And so we were 7 kids, my mom and her boyfriend, all living in a 2-bedroom apartment in the inner city of Houston, Texas. Many of my siblings chose a way of drugs and alcohol and crime to survive the inner city, the ghetto of Houston. For me, I fell in love with sports. Sports changed my life. It set me on a path to discover who I was and the greatness in which God had for me. Like every kid, I had a dream at that time in my life, a dream to accomplish, to be a professional athlete. But I didn't know how to get there. I didn't have any direction, didn't have any structure, didn't have any discipline. All I knew was my high school coach said, if no pass, no play, show up at school if you want to be on the team. That was a motivation for me. At first, I told people that I went to school for 3 different reasons. One is because we didn't have food in the house, so I got out of bed and ran to breakfast. And I tell kids that myself and many of my friends growing up are the reasons why they put big fences around schools, because we used to eat breakfast and then run home. And then we would run back to school for lunch.
They want to keep you there.
There you go.
Yeah, no free lunches, no free breakfast. You got to at least stick around and learn something to get your breakfast, right?
So I got caught, and they told me I had to stay in school. So I went to school because I can get breakfast, I can sleep until lunch, and then there was recess, and then I can go home.
Yeah.
That was the motivation. But I fell in love with sports, and sports became something that gave me passion. It gave me purpose. It gave me something that I never thought could inspire and motivate me. And so I played high school basketball, baseball, softball, baseball, ran track, and did a little bit of everything just to stay out of trouble. I find myself one day in a gym. I meet a coach by the name of Dave Stallman. Dave Stallman was a man who saw potential in me, so much so he invited me to a late great Hall of Famer basketball camp by the name of Pistol Pete Maravich. Pistol Pete Maravich.
The New Orleans Jazz back in the day.
Yes, sir. New Orleans
Utah Jazz. Go Jazz.
That's right. That's right. I actually got the Utah Jazz jersey right there in the background.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I go to Pistol Pete's camp, and Pistol Pete teaches me the greatest lesson of my life, something that I still live and hold near and dear to my heart even today. I went to the camp as a rough around the edges kid. I was the best player there. My team went undefeated. He invited me to a lunch, in which this lunch became a powerful introduction to who I really was at that time in my life. my braggadocious and attitude at that time was probably not the best. So when he offered me to have lunch, it was a way for me to pop my collar and let everybody know that I was better than you, because that's what we did in the hood. It was about beating you, being better, being at the top of the mountain. So that was my attitude. Pistol Pete tells me these powerful words. He said, I invited you to lunch. You're a great basketball player. I see a tremendous future in you. You have professional potential. He said, but I invited you to tell you that I won't be giving you the MVP award. And he told me these words: your character doesn't fit the award. Mm-hmm. For the first time in my life, I was introduced to a word called character. I didn't even know what that meant. Mm-hmm. But I became familiar with it as my coach that took me, I was upset. I ran away, and it was in Florida, so I couldn't run too far. I ran to the curb. Coach found me on the curb. I was crying. I was mad. I was upset. And he told me, he said, I saw the same thing Pete saw in you, and I want you to come and hear his testimony. Pistol Pete Maravich was the first millionaire basketball player in the history of the NBA. But he was a little loose lips and wasn't the best character guy as well. He shared a story with me that almost cost him his life. But at that time, if you're familiar with his story, Pistol Pete had become a man that lived the rest of his life, his legacy, as a man introducing others to Christ, leading young people in basketball camps, but giving them an opportunity to come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. It was on that day, June 18th, 1986, a 17-year-old kid, under the sound of Pistol Pete's voice, I became a Christian in my life. And it was almost instantly that the lights came on for me. I began to see life in a different way. I began to believe that I had purpose. So much so, when I went back to my hometown in Houston, Texas, I began to first see drugs were bad, drinking was bad, alcohol, crime was bad. When you're in the hood, I tell people, you're just trying to survive it. You see what other people are doing and you think that's survival. You don't think it as a crime or wrong or whatever. It was like my eyes were open to something new. And that eyes opening to something new led to an even greater experience in my life, that this coach offered me to go to a Christian school. At that time, I didn't know what a Christian school was. I said, what is that? He said, oh, it's a school, but we just teach you Christian principles. Mm-hmm. I went to visit the school, and at a 5 o'clock in the morning prayer meeting, my life changed forever. You see that this 5 o'clock in the morning prayer meeting, there were a bunch of adults, a bunch of parents who were gathering to pray and over their kids, to pray for their jobs, to pray for their lives, that things would go well and God would bless them. After the prayer meeting, there's this white woman by the name of Lynn Johnson. Lynn comes up to me and she says, what is a young man like you doing here? I was intimidated at the moment, and I just said, I'm with him. And she said, something strange happened while we were praying. I felt like I was supposed to offer you a place to live. And I said, me? You? Live with you? Offer me a place to live? I was astounded. I was amazed. This family ended up taking me in as one of their own, and they helped me become the man that I am today. They adopted me and loved me. For the first time in my life, I experienced love. I went to the family's house and I walked through the doors, and this 9-year-old little girl, my sister named Jessica, she runs up to me and she jumps in my arm and she hugs me and she kisses me on the cheek. She says, I love you. Are you going to be my big brother? And I thought, wow, the amount of love, the amount of compassion that I felt in that moment has been the thing that has driven me throughout the course of my life until now. I went on to play college basketball. I did try to play a little professional basketball and fell short of that because of knee surgeries. But I then find myself being a coach, and I've coached and trained for 27 years. I founded and invented a patent, a training and rehabilitation shoe that I'm trying to get on the market. COVID hits. I don't know what to do with myself because I only know myself as a coach and a trainer and an athlete. And I discovered something more about myself, in which I wrote a book that's coming out soon, The Elevated Soul. You are more than what you see. I became an author. I wrote 2 books in the past 7 or 8 months, and working on launching that second book. And so I want to inspire others to understand and know that God has a purpose and a plan for your life. No matter how it starts, no matter what it looks like, no matter what amount of failure that you may face in your life, circumstances like COVID shift and change me into something I never thought I would be. There is more to you than what you see. There is greater purpose beyond what you're experiencing. There's purpose for your pain. There's greatness in you. Stay the course, keep the faith. Good things lie ahead.
Wow. Okay, and then we can end the show. Hey, that was perfect. Yeah, well, perfect. Well, so I want to go back a little bit too, because somebody sitting at home could sit there and go, well, who am I?
Yes.
Who am I to be able to leave a legacy?
Mhm.
I can't even see out of survival.
Yes.
Right? I mean, when you're in the hood, you talked about it. There wasn't even that consciousness of breaking through and seeing that. You had to, like, you just had to be ripped out of that and then be made aware somehow.
Yes.
But what can somebody that's at home right now, whether you're, like you're middle class, you're in the hood, you have wealthy parents, we all go through this thing of trying to find out who I am and how, like, who am I, what am I supposed to be?
Yes.
There's this phase, right?
Yes.
How do you get that consciousness? What can somebody do? Is there thoughts that come up around that
Yes.
for you?
Well, obviously, what I've shared with you is that there are 2 gentlemen who entered my life that inspired me and gave me a change. What I like to tell people is that I believe that there is greater purpose inside of everyone if you will look inside yourself and see the things around you. Sometimes there are people that come around us that, because of, like myself, I was a, African-American young man, but it took another race, another color of a woman that shared love with me to help me find myself. I think sometimes what we do, Ryan, is we look for the familiar. And sometimes I believe what God does is he works in the unfamiliar. It's the unfamiliar that gives you the perspective that's beyond what you see, beyond what you can control, beyond what you know, because it is then that you find faith. Faith is something that you have to grab a hold to. When you're in a situation that is one of despair, whether it's bad relationships, abusive relationships, or whatever, you have to hold on to hope and keep faith. If there's a place where you can start, wherever you're sitting around and whatever you're thinking about escaping or finding purpose or discovering yourself, it all starts with you. It all starts with taking a deeper look inside of yourselves. Sometimes we discourage the thing that actually is the purpose. You see, what I've discovered and found out was Stephon Leary grew up in an abusive, neglect, rejectful situation. But what I discovered and found that the opposite of what was my purpose was love. I tell people that I was changed by love.
Mhm.
Love changed me. Love defined me. And so what we're looking for sometimes is that familiar. That familiar is unlove. If I was looking for something, I would be looking for that same unloving person, right? But God works in the unfamiliar. He gives us the opportunity to see ourselves beyond. And I think when I shared with you and
Nick.
Yeah, Nick, I told you about my comparison in my book that I wrote about the lion cub Simba.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it
share that with our radio listeners too. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Simba woke up one day with his dad. This is actually part of my legacy building speech, so I'm glad you took me in that direction. It starts out, we're all excited about life. Simba woke up, if you know the movie The Lion King, Simba woke up nudging his dad, Dad, get up, Dad. Simba was excited about life and he wanted his dad to show him life. You see, what happens is some of us are growing up in situations that we nudge people that are not showing us. We're living with people who are not, giving us direction, a path. I grew up that way. But at the time in my life where I was nudged, you see, what happens is you have to seize the opportunity that's placed in front of you when you're nudged. Mm-hmm. And so what happened is Simba nudges his dad and his dad takes him out and he shows him all that he's supposed to have, right? And he even told him to do not go over there to the graveyard. But Simba, wanting to be the king of all of the land that he saw, crossed boundaries that he wasn't supposed to cross. You see, another part of what I say about legacy building is you have to be obedient. You have to be obedient to what people are instructing you. When you are given the opportunity to be something, to discover yourself, to find purpose, to do something great, you must be obedient to that which it takes to become great. Mm-hmm. You see, what happened for me is my mom will tell you now, if you got a chance to meet her, she would say, well, you were easy because you came in the home and did what we asked you to do. And I say it was easy for me because I was looking for something. When you're looking for something and someone gives you the answer, like the old cheat sheet code, right? Write it down, embrace it, use it, allow it to give you a direction in your life that will be unfamiliar. But as you go down that road of discovering yourself and finding purpose to leaving a legacy or living a life of leaving a legacy, obedience is better than sacrifice. You must be obedient. So little cub Simba wasn't obedient. And what his disobedience led to was a tragedy. What happens most to people in life is that our disobedience leads to tragedy, or our veering off on the wrong path leads to a tragedy, unforeseen circumstances, difficult situations we find ourselves in. And it takes something to draw us back. It takes something to bring us back in to the fold. And what happened for little Simba is he wandered off. I tell people, I said, how many people are running in life from something that happened a long time ago?
Yeah,
been there, done that.
We've
Currently was
there,
doing that until this last little bit.
Yeah.
I tell people Stephon Leary was running. You see, what writing these books in the last several months have done for me is peel back the onion in my life. The onion
exposes that core, right? As you peel back those layers.
I'm not even at the core, brother.
Right? Yeah.
Hey, listen.
Just keeps going.
Core, and it's getting stinkier and stinkier. That onion is becoming louder and louder, the smell of it. You see, what happens is the innocence of an onion is seen from the outside. Mm-hmm. But the greatness of what it does to you or me is in the inside. And what happens is what's inside of us is sometimes suppressed to the point where we don't see what we're capable of being.
Well, look how tight the inside of an onion is, right?
Yes, yes, and there are many layers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is Simba ran off to a faraway land. He ran from a palace, a pride land of green grass and grandeur, to a desert place. We went to a place where he went from eating meat off the top of the food chain to eating grubs and scrubs from a tree. Sometimes we reduce ourselves to living a life that we weren't supposed to live. But God loves us enough that he will put people in our path to redirect us. You must listen to the voices of those that he put in your path. That's what happened for me. I had people come across my path, redirect me. For Simba, he had Nyla. She found him. And when she found him, she was so excited about finding him. She said, oh, the pride is going to be so excited that you're alive. But Simba had lost himself and suppressed those feelings down so far that he told her, please don't tell my mom I'm alive.
Mm-hmm.
The tragedy in life is that sometimes we get to a place in our life that we don't want people to know we exist. We're hiding from who we really are. But God loves us so much that he's going to continue to put people in our path, in our lives, to help bring us out. You got to look for that opportunity. So Simba runs into the great Rafiki. The great Rafiki finds him and he tells him these wonderful words. Boy, you don't know who you are. And Simba said, why, I'm Simba. He said, I know you. Simba says, you do? He said, I know your father. Simba says, he drops his head and he says, yeah, but he's dead. You see, the trauma of pain, what it does is takes us to a place where we don't find the strength to continue on. But I want to encourage you to move past the pain. There's purpose in the pain. If you ever understand that pain or experience that you've had in your life, God will use it for greater good because there's greatness in you. And sometimes that pain process is the same thing that happens for a diamond. You find that diamond, but it's got to go through the fire before it becomes a precious stone. And that person that you desire to be and long to be needs to go through, or sometimes goes through, a little fire in order to become that precious stone. So what happens, Ryan, is, here's what happened, Ryan. The great Rafiki says, your father is alive. Simba says, he is? See, there's a reconnection to something that makes us have inspired about life again. What is it that reconnects you to life again? Simba's father and the desire to see that his father was alive caused him to look a little deeper inside himself or to chase after that. Rafiki says, he's alive. I'll show you. And he runs Simba off into the trees and down roads, and Simba's afraid of what's going on. He was embracing the familiar, the unfamiliar. Simba, Rafiki was taking him to a place to discover himself, and it was unfamiliar to him that he was afraid. There's a little fear on the path to discovering yourself. Mm-hmm. Because I've been going through that path. Because I knew basketball. I knew training. I like the back of my hand, the palm of my hand. Ask me to be a writer. Ask me to be a speaker. Wait a second. I don't know how to do that. And so that unfamiliar became a little bit of trepidation or fear within me. But I had to find trust. You have to trust the process to discovering yourself. Simba trusted that process so much so he got to that lake and he looked in the water. And here's where I want everyone to understand. Think with me for a second of what happens in our lives. Too many times we look at that reflection and we see all of the pain. We see all of the disappointment. We see all of the failure. We see the abuse. We see all of the things that have held us back. Simba looked in the water and he said, that's just my reflection. So many people, I love your caption, right? Wake up with giants. Because so many people wake up feeling small.
Mm-hmm.
So many people wake up feeling inadequate, like they don't belong, like they can't do it. And Rafiki tells him, what I want everyone to do today, look harder.
I just got chills.
I
I'm
did
wearing a
too.
sweatshirt.
Like, yeah, it's his voice. It's Stephon's voice too.
Yeah.
Whew.
I
That's
can't wait
good.
to do the audio for my book because this story is in there. So when Simba looks harder, he sees the image of his father in him. And when he sees this image of his father, of course, in the movie, his father appears in the skies and said, Simba, oh, Simba, remember who you are. You have so forgotten you that you've forgotten me. And Simba says, no, I haven't. He said, remember who you are. And what he was telling Simba was to remember the kid that when I took out and saw the Pride Land, that you were a king. Simba in the movie went around singing, I just can't wait to be king. And he lost all of that. You see, what we got to do is we got to get back to that place in our life where we're inspired by life. That thing that inspired us and drove us to a place we were excited to get up every morning and to go and be something that God has called us to be. You got to find that excitement, but you got to look harder, look into yourself. Don't forget who you are. Never, never, never forget who you are. And if you've faced a few bumpy roads along the way, trust me, what God is doing is he's going to redefine you. Don't let the pain of your life define you. God will redefine you for a greater purpose. And that greater purpose that you discover in your life will cause you to start living that life of legacy. And when you live that life of legacy, you begin to think about impacting others. You begin to think about what you want to leave behind. What I tell people about legacy is not just about money. You don't work hard in life to leave money, because if you value it and you don't teach them how to value it, they'll squander it. Right?
Yeah, I love that you just said that.
It's not squandering. Legacy is building.
Yeah.
How do you build in life? The only way you build in life is teach them the process of building a legacy through character principles.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them to love through that money, which means to give. Teach them how to use that money, which means to invest. Not so that one generation can benefit from it, but so generation after generation will benefit from it. Here's a powerful statement I want you to remember. Don't be the person in your generation that rob the next generation of its greatness. Don't be that person. Embrace your journey, your purpose, and allow God to build in you something that you leave behind that others will take along with them, and then others will take along with them, that we begin to build a legacy that lasts forever. Don't be the one to rob other generations.
You know,
I love.
oh, sorry, Melissa, you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I love that you went into emotion, because I was trying for about 10 minutes. Okay, where am I going to get in here? Because I wanted to highlight for our listeners that you were talking about emotion, because sometimes when we hear legacy, we think, well, I'm not rich and I don't have a castle and I don't have this big company to leave to my family. And we think in terms of that, like that monetary stuff and that tangible stuff. And a legacy doesn't need to be that. It can be emotion, it can be love, it can be respect, it can be
Yes.
the proper way to handle those things. And I really wanted to highlight, I heard you saying it, and I thought I really need to spotlight this for our listeners so that they understand that it's your way of living too. You don't have to have a lot to leave a
Yes.
legacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll give you 3 things while you're saying that. You ready for this? 3 things. To leave a legacy, number 1, help your children interpret the perspective, God's perspective in their life. You got to help them, because what kids do, I write a chapter in this book about our senses. So much of our lives we live is based upon what we see, what we hear, right? What we touch, what we taste, what we smell. And so what happens in our lives is we don't help them interpret it in terms of what God has for them in their life. They're going to interpret through the world.
Yeah.
That's why the people on television and radio, that's why they are raising video games. That's why they're raising our kids for us. It's because we're not teaching them to have that perspective that they need to achieve their purpose and greatness in life. And when you teach them that, make those lessons a lesson of fruitfulness, a lesson of strength, because you're going to have to overcome things, a lesson of overcoming trials. Those are the type of things that we need to give them a perspective of instead of save them from. Teach them how to overcome them. Number 2, you help them to observe the strengths of who they are. This begins as a child, right? We all seen children grow up and they do something that we think, oh my gosh. I know for me, it's in the sports world, all right? So everyone sees their kid and they pick up a ball first and they said, oh, he loves sports, he loves sports. And then they start encouraging him in those sports, right? But some people, you go to the restaurant and they have these little things that they draw, and you got to find words, and you got to find those things and then give them to them to help them discover the strengths that they have in their life. Leave a legacy of helping them discover the strengths that they've been given to be the best that they're capable of being. If you don't help them discover those strengths, they'll spend the rest of their life searching. I've been a coach and a teacher and a trainer for 27 years. The most common question that you get from young people is, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I first ask him, well, why are you playing basketball? What are you training for? If you're not doing it because you see purpose in it and your parents are just making you do it, then I tell that parent, I say, hey, listen, if you got a moment, can we sit down and talk? I want to talk to you about Johnny or Susie or whoever. I want to talk to you about, I don't know if this is for them. Let's help them find other things that help them be the best that they are capable of being. To feel good about themselves, not for us to feel good about what we did and what we went through that makes them who they are, but about what their strengths are that makes them who they are. And the last thing I would say to you is that leave, number 3, impart to them spiritual blessings that were given to you. For me, the greatest of that is love. I tell people I was saved by love. I was changed by love. Therefore, my legacy is to love. You got to discover and impart into them those spiritual blessings that will help define their path and who they were called to be or created to be. And if we help each other do that, and they do that, we are building a legacy that will last forever.
I've got a question / comment, I think. So, because I was thinking about like your circumstance, right? Your circumstance was your circumstance. You didn't get to be up there and be like, okay, yep, I want to be born here in poverty, in the hood,
Right.
because who would really choose that, right? I
Right.
mean, it's
right.
it's through a long series of events that you had no control over,
Yes.
that you were there, right?
Right.
And so, but I also like tying this into leaving a legacy is history. History
Yes.
can be viewed as good and bad. It's however we perceive it, right?
That's correct.
But I was thinking about your history, and a lot of people could look back. We talked about rewriting our story, and the story we tell ourselves earlier with Aaron Donovan on our Wake Up with Giants TV show this morning. And some of the stories that she would tell ended up not even being true anymore, like because she had told these stories so long and changed them to fit like what worked for her, that pretty soon they weren't even like the real story anymore, right?
Like one, I'll give you the best one. I had to crawl through mountains, through snow to get to school. Get up and go to school.
Yeah, uphill both ways type stories, right? And
Today
you
we
live in
got
Houston
buses.
and it only snows like once a century.
Yeah, we got buses and
right?
we got buses and carpools and everything else.
Yeah, The truth is, you might have stepped in some slush. So I was thinking about that though, and like the viewpoint that we give it is the viewpoint that it is.
Yes.
Because it's real to us at that point. It's our perception, and then there's real reality.
Yes.
But there's also something you talked about love. I see your whole history, and from outside view, I could say, man, you could do this too. That's tough. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Why is this happening to me? The viewers at home could be in a circumstance or situation, things happening where it feels like the walls are just caving down upon them right now.
Yes.
But the difference is then that consciousness shift, that perception.
Yes.
Change your perception, change your reality.
Yes.
And so you change that, and you can also hold love and space and grace and gratitude and all these loving words for your history. Like my history, I had some good moments and I had some really bad moments. My parents could attest to some of those. Some of those that knew me. Nicole can't tell any stories because she went to high school with me, so she has to keep her mouth shut. I've sworn her to secrecy, everybody.
Nicole, I'll be calling you later.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we've got it under lock and key. We've signed an NDA.
There were signatures.
I'm sure there's some things, right? And I'm probably I had a conversation with one of my friends, my childhood friends growing up. I always viewed him as this amazing person, this person that I wanted to be like because he was popular. He had these haircuts. He had this, he had that. He did things in my eyes as a year younger that I was looking to him was, man, that's cool. That's amazing. And he is cool. He is amazing.
Yeah.
He did a good job. Now, he's had bumps and bruises in his life, but he views his story completely different.
Absolutely.
Where he called me the other day and he said to me that, like, he said, well, I don't see it like that. I don't see myself like you see me. I don't see myself like my family sees me. And he's worried about his family's judgment, these things, right? But if you can shift that, and I don't know, it's different from everybody, and there's lots of tools and things, and I want to hear yours. This is where my question comes in, is that I want to hear yours, what are those things? But in my opinion, as you become conscious and aware, you have a choice to make, and you can then choose. Yeah. How would you suggest somebody shift that and start holding those things with love? Because those stories made you, right?
Yes.
The experiences and the hard things Simba he made a decision. He could have stayed and he could have grown quicker because of the experience of a giant, his dad saying, don't go over that part of the Pride Land because it's it caused you some heartache and some problems. Yes. And it did. But he went anyway, and it did. But those things also became part of his experience. So take it from that point. Ready, go.
Well, here's what I would say to that. In complete transparency, here's what I think. If I could help anyone today understand, love saved me. Love changed me. Love is the thing that I desire most, more so than I love others. What is the most difficult thing that Stephon Leary has having a hard time obtaining? Love. What I think happens in our life is that thing that we do, that we are defining ourselves by, or that changed us. Like love changed me, love saved me. There is nothing more that I tell people than I would ever know in my life is that someone, my parents love me, my siblings love me, unconditionally love me. What I struggle with was loving me.
Yeah, that's where I went right there. I was pointing like this. It just looked like I was punching myself in the face. This guy.
Because I was never taught how to love me. I'm starting to learn to love me.
I think there's a lot of people that aren't really taught how to love them, how to really truly love themselves. I'm a giver. I'm the type that goes out, serves, which is good. There's a good thing, positive things in that, just selfless service. But at the same time, there's got to be boundaries and respect and love for yourself. And I give to my own detriment.
Yes.
And I was never really taught to break it down and to love the dark parts of me, where I can, I can see them, right?
That's
and
right.
love them.
So what you're referring to for me, this is how I put it in complete transparency. I wanted love so much, so bad, that the first person that would show me love, I would, I found it. And therefore, I'm a divorced man. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know me well enough to know what I was supposed to be looking for. And so my greatest struggle that I find, Ryan, was within me. When you discover yourself and the way in which, through all of your painful experiences, your trials, your tribulations, what I looked for was someone that would love me honestly, the way my dad didn't love my mom. I became aware of love when I was adopted into this family. I saw what love looks like. I wanted that love so bad. I wanted to be happily married for the rest of my life. And that person that I thought loved me didn't love me. They loved what I did. What I would like to encourage people is, when you're looking for the discovery of yourself, when you're looking for that purpose beyond what you're experiencing, the difficulties that you've been through, the most painful experience is the most rewarding experience. And that is getting over you. When you get to the place in your life where it's not about everybody else and what they did to you and what's happened to you and what didn't go right, didn't go wrong. I tell people now, I didn't accomplish the dream of being a professional athlete. There was more to me than that. I may have found fulfillment in that, but it would not have completed me. It may have destroyed me because I didn't know me. And if you don't know you, that thing that you want so bad in your life could be to your detriment until you come face to face with your own self and understand the purpose in which you were created. So much so now, Ryan, you said earlier, would you choose to be or go through what you've gone through? I may not have done it in the beginning, but I love me some me now.
I love me some me.
I love that.
For the first time in my life, I don't know if I would have been at peace with me if things would have been perfect. But I know that life is okay now, and I'm okay with me. For the first time in my life, I'm at peace and I love me some me. I didn't love me before. I was chasing something. I was chasing love. I was chasing people loving me, supporting me, believing in me. As you know, switch the 3-pointer and the crowd goes wild. You know, win the state championship. As a coach, I won state championships coaching girls basketball, boys basketball. I jumped in there and I played football. I wasn't a coach in football, but I said, "Hey, I'm going to start a football program and I'm going to coach football." And they said, "Oh, no way you're going to coach football. You can't win in football." I'm like, "Okay, we'll see about that."
Yeah, watch this.
Coaching football.
Yeah.
I became a champion coach. I was so driven and passionate and trying to find things in my life for fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was unfulfilled. It was never about anyone else. It was never about the person who broke up with me, the person who hurt me, the person who used me, the person, who abused me. It was never about all of that. It was about my journey to discovering me. And so I want to encourage our audience today to understand the greatest thing that you can do in your life is take the blinders off of everything else and simply focus on you. The greatest fulfillment in your life to finding love, peace, joy, happiness, it's in you. It's you. It's not about somebody else. Yes, you. It's not about the level of achievement. It's not about the job. It's not about how much money you have in the bank. It's about you. And once you discover you, you'll discover your greatness and you'll find true peace into being whatever you choose to be.
I love that. And what I'm wondering too, and I know Ryan touched on mindset of moving forward out of that situation and out of the emotion of everything that you were in and what you had to move through. And I remember on your interview on Wake Up with Giants TV, you talked about the valleys, you talked about the hills and having to come down into the valley to climb up the next hill. And I wonder if you have any suggestions for our listeners, because I know that when we've come from this place, from this dark place, and we're moving forward and everything's going great, and then all of a sudden things start to go down a little bit and we start to go into the valley and we think, this is it. This always happens to me, right? It's just, I'm never gonna find my way back up. How do you keep that positive mindset? What do you do to keep going and pushing through that valley to move up the hill?
This topic really excites me. I really want to get up and do jumping jacks or something. Because I'm living it, Melissa. I'm living it. And so it's an exciting topic for me. Listen, this could be such revelation for everyone. If you understand this concept, I'm working on my 3rd book, and it's called Mountains and Valleys.
Oh.
You got to go down before you get back up. And I want the audience to understand, being successful in life, achieving the great things in life is, you're human. You cannot scale mountains. Mm-hmm. When you climb up one and you look into the distance and you say, I want to get to that one, I want to give you a secret. You got to get off the one you're on and go down to get back up the other one.
You know what I hear in that too
is we get discouraged in the process of going down because we lose sight of everything we knew. The downward process doesn't look like the mountaintop we climbed. It now looks like, oh my gosh,
fear,
what I got myself into.
Change, worry, doubt, right? All those things.
The fears, the doubts, the worry, the discouragement. And sometimes the slippy slopes that causes us to fall further than we wanted to fall, right? And so what happens is we go from a high mountain down into a place where we say, who am I? Where am I? How do I get over there? And those are the same questions. This is what I love about Simba, right? This is what I love about Simba. Simba ran back to the place that he was initially supposed to be after what I just told you. He found himself.
Mm-hmm.
When you go down this mountain and you want to climb other mountains, no matter what it is in your life, I'm climbing a new mountain right now. Speaking to you is a new mountain for me. Writing books was a new mountain for me. I don't just get up and go write out a game plan on how I'm going to beat somebody, right? This game plan requires something that's stretching me, something that's causing me to research, something that's causing me to study, something that's causing me more time than I ever thought I had. And so I'm now, for me, going through this valley and I'm chopping trees and I'm trying to get vision for where I'm going because I don't know where I'm going.
Wait. So you're saying, so hold on one second. So you're saying like you don't just see, you're not on one peak and then you just see your potential, and then you can just go like this and kind of sit back and wait for it to come to you, right? That's not a thing.
The problem is
you don't know how you're going to get there, right? Like you don't know how you're going to be I know you're going to be a best-selling author, movies, awards, all kinds of things. That's coming. It's already there.
Hey, that mountain, I can't see it right now, right?
I see it for you, but I don't know how, like the how-to in between, right? You got to go chop the trees and go slide down the slippery slopes.
I am chopping. I'm chopping. I tell my friends.
Go Paul Bunyan on that thing.
I tell my friends and everyone, I said, man, there are days where I wake up and I say to myself, where am I? I'm in the same house I've been in for 5 years. It just looks unfamiliar because of the mental journey, right? So, Melissa, to answer that question, as I've come down from that mountain of being this successful coach, this successful trainer, this inventor, and I'm writing books now and speaking, and I'm going through this valley experience. The valley experience is the most challenging process of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because the climb, you take one step in front of you to know that you're going up. The valley, you're taking one step towards something you don't even know what's on the other side of it.
Nicole, I want to get you in here because I can see the wheels turning. Nicole will sit back and just, she's really trying hard not to interrupt.
She's very polite. Yes.
She's that way. Yeah, but I can hear her like whisper, yes.
I haven't been whispering today.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's just in my head. I see your face and I hear you doing that. What are some of your inputs and thoughts as you've been hearing this, Nicole? We need some Nicole nuggets here too.
Oh my gosh. I've just been absorbing. I relate to so much of Stephon's story. It really hit me hard that I came here today feeling like, what legacy am I leaving, and confused. And he just really hit me right in my heart and made me feel like a giant with what it is that I'm creating in my life. Every kid that comes into my house is considered my child that I adopt, and I tell them how much I love them. And I never looked at it as leaving a legacy. I never looked at it that I could have impacted someone as powerful as Stephon to step into his greatness. It wasn't the basketball camp that he went to. It wasn't any of those things that impacted. It was a mother's love that was not from his own mother. So that just was like, okay, I feel like I haven't been doing anything to leave a legacy, and maybe
you're doing more than what you ever thought.
You're a great mom to me, Nicole.
So that was really powerful.
I've been writing things.
I was just like,
young people, you're doing more than what you ever thought.
It just was amazing to me that that something like that was so powerful. Love is the most powerful energy in the universe, and you just really have spoke to that with who you are today.
Isn't that interesting too on love? Sorry to cut you off there, Nicole, but isn't that interesting as you start loving yourself?
This was where I was going.
Then that, oh, see, I stole it right from you. I'm going to take it on as my own. I'm just taking the role of Nick and me right here, but that others will start seeing you as that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing that really hit me hard was that when it comes to loving yourself, like we all expect to, like I expect my husband knows how to love me, but I don't know how to love me.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to know if my husband's loving me the way that Nicole needs to be loved if I don't even know what that looks like, if I don't know what that is? So Stephon is really put the blinders on of figure out what makes Nicole happy, figure out what Nicole needs to feel loved, because that way I can teach my husband what it is instead of expecting other people to know, expecting Ryan to know or Melissa to know how to love me. So I have taken away so many powerful things from this today, from listening to Stephon. I am so grateful that I was able to be on this episode with you today. I told my husband I'm a little bit intimidated. This is our guest today, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. I feel so impacted with this hour. I'm so excited for our listeners and what they have been able to experience here today with you.
Well, I want to encourage you in this, Nicole. When you're in your search for discovering your love for yourself, here's what I discovered recently. Being a Christian, many people have told everyone around the world the greatest commandment, which is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and all your strength. And the second part of it is love your neighbor. But see, what I think most people have left out is the third part of the verse. I think most people are not finding fulfillment because it says, love your neighbor as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know how to love you, you have a hard time trying to love your neighbors. There's a process into loving that we have skipped in our lives. And that's us. And that love for us, we've termed it most times as pride, arrogance, overconfident. I used to coach kids and I used to tell a parent, okay, now listen, I'm giving your kids some of Stephon Leary's training. Here's what I'm going to guarantee you. They're going to get better and start sounding arrogant. And they said, oh no, that can't happen. I don't want an over arrogant kid. And I said, oh, whoa. Yes, you do. Because he has an opponent to face and he must believe he's better than that person or he will lose. What we've taught kids and people in life is that it's bad to have confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Bad to believe in yourself. It takes a level of confidence, arrogance, and belief to be the great person that God has called you to be. You have to be confident in you. And the little nugget that you find in being confident in you is this right here. That thing that you do daily that gives you this is the thing that you do every day that will show others, that's what makes me smile. And that smile may come from your loving every kid that comes into your home. I know for me, my mom loves everybody she meets. Like I tell people, my Thanksgivings are like introduction Thanksgivings because we have it out on the farm and there are hundreds of people there. And I think, where are my family? It's Thanksgiving. to find my family and say, I love you, I'm thankful for you. I may meet 100 people before I meet them, because she will invite anyone into her presence, because that's the way she loves, and that's what makes her happy. For me, I've discovered that making a difference in the life of someone else is what makes me smile. I say, of all the championships that I've won, from high school to college, from different sports, there is nothing that made me more happy than that kid who he thought he wasn't good enough. His parents thought he wasn't good enough. Everyone around him thought he wasn't good enough. And one day I go watch him play, and he makes that three, and everybody's cheering for him. For me, that's what makes me happy. Seeing and making a difference in the life of someone else. And you will discover that. And when you discover that, that'll give you the peace and the wholeness that you search for. And everyone else. What is it that makes you smile?
That is a leave a legacy mic drop if I've ever seen.
I know, right? I was just
boom.
like, there's nothing else to say there. And I know the feeling. I have the same feeling after I teach a storytime yoga class. The exact same feeling. Someone once asked me and termed it this way. What would you do for the rest of your life and be happy doing it without ever getting paid for it? And for me, it's the same thing. Storytime yoga. I have that. I know the exact feeling you're saying. I could feel it as you were describing it. When I finish one of those classes and I talk to the kids at the end of class and how excited they are and how relaxed they are and how they feel like they can do anything and they're completely loved in the world. It fills my heart. It's the best thing in the whole world. Absolutely.
I had a kid in college who was struggling, and I told Nick and Ryan I love their story, Wake Up with Giants, Melissa, because for me, immediately it took me to David and Goliath. Goliath was a giant on the outside. David was the giant on the inside. And I had a kid who called me and was discouraged about his teammates, his coach not playing him and whatever. I said, hey, listen, I need you to do one thing. Make them clap for you. He said, what do you mean? I said, here's a secret to life about being successful, especially as it relates to basketball, right? The Utah Jazz and all of these threes, Donovan Mitchell and Ingles and stuff are making. Make them clap for you. And I say, hey, listen, just do one positive thing and watch what they do. And then have that thing in your head for the rest of your life. Make them clap for you. I said, the next time they passed you that basketball, shoot it. He shot it. He made it. And everybody, make them clap for you. Don't let them discourage you. Make them clap for you. David was discouraged by his dad, his brother, and the king from fighting Goliath. And at the end of the day, everyone clapped because David defeated Goliath.
So
silence. I don't even know what to say.
like-
I'm like, that's it. We could just end right there.
No, I just can't stop smiling. I was like, this whole episode, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much.
Well, now you know how to, like, if the viewers at home, the people that are watching, right, like, you could go through this, and I've said this week after week, giant after giant that comes on. If this was the only episode that you had to be able to, you know, to grow from, and you could only listen to this and nothing else, man, the potential, the things that you could learn, do, and be from this episode, Stephon Leary, giving you these nuggets and his wisdom from a life of experiences, positive, negative, hard, amazing, championships to defeats. All of that has made him the man who he is today, the giant that he is, and the giant that he is becoming, because he sees new higher peaks, new higher challenges and things that he wants to overcome. He wants to continue writing books, which are a challenge, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be another something down the line. So you at home that's looking at, take this and then apply it into your own life of where you're at. It's okay. It's the circumstance you're in. Guess what?
Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Make them clap for you.
Yeah.
It's so funny that I was riding with a friend, and she, I answered a phone call from my brother. And my brother was talking to me, and I had it on speakerphone. And she said, it's funny. I didn't understand a word he said. How did you understand it? And I said, because I used to talk like that. Mm-hmm. And what I say that is, I was a kid who didn't speak correctly. I was the same kid who had all the red marks on his paper that he had to turn in for English. I can't even tell you, I wrote books and I'm speaking. God has a purpose and a plan for you beyond what you ever would imagine. Don't give up on you. Believe in you, love you some you, and make them clap for you and leave a legacy.
I love it. That was amazing. And I'm gonna stop us right there. I'm watching
1:11, by the way.
Yes, I was just looking at the clock too. I love that. I think it's a perfect place to say goodbye and to thank all of you for being here today. Thank you so much to our special guest co-host, Stephon.
Yeah, we want to have you back too. Yeah, there's more. There's so much more. I know there is.
I know.
I'm here. Whenever you need me, send the link. I'm here.
Perfect. Yeah, I have to tell you.
Shopping, looking for opportunities.
What's that, Nicole?
Stephon, I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much.
All right.
There we go.
We're going to say goodbye and have a